Some people age like Tom Brady. Bro looked like Buzz from Home Alone as a kid, only to age like water from the biblical times that Christ himself turned to wine. Some people age like Britney Spears. She looked great young, has not only fallen off looks-wise, but has a mind that should qualify her for Arkham Asylum. And others age like the 2025 Chicago Cubs. They were very sexy at first, have fallen off, but not fully. Like, it's not the most extreme case. They still have a chance to redeem themselves. But a combination of factors on the inside and on the outside have led this team to a point where it could get a lot uglier than any of us would have thought even a month ago. So thank you for being here. Subscribe or not. If you haven't joined the 49% elite humans, consider hitting that button if you enjoy the videos, as the Cubs started the year like kings. Admittedly, much better than I would have given them credit for before the season. In hindsight, I guess that was stupid, but I don't know. I guess I just didn't fully know what to expect. Kyle Tucker immediately made his addition felt, and also how much money he wants to get paid this offseason. Felt like I couldn't look away from a Cubs game for 5 minutes without him hammering a baseball. And the offense overall just seems so overpowered. It was overpowered. P. Crow Armstrong out here making blue-haired people feel not only just accepted, but cool. Seiya Suzuki out here making it look like Sammy Sosa decided to go from black to white to Asian and then re-enter the league. Michael Busch, who had a solid rookie year last year, is doing the complete opposite of a sophomore slump. He's gotten a step better. Even Carson Kelly, a guy who's never stood out ever in his career, he's been great, and getting good deals on tickets to go to games to watch players like that is also great. With baseball season in the final stretch run leading to the playoffs, along with the NFL season practically here, it's the perfect time to talk about getting tickets to go to games, and that's where SeatGeek comes in to help you out. SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app with over 28 million downloads. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more, and they always make it really easy to see which seats are the most ideal to get. They walk you through this with a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal, so you can see where the best deals are. Green is for the good deals, red is for the bad deals, and this is where I come in, as you can get 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek using code iTALK10. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code ITALK10. Make sure to click the link in the description or pinned comment below to download the app. Now back to the video. Then you have the pitching, a pitching staff that lost their best starter, by the way. Didn't seem to matter. Matthew Boyd slotted right in as the lefty ace. Shota Imanaga did deal with a little bit of an injury issue, but when healthy, he's been good. Then you have a guy like Cade Horton, who's solid. Nothing special. It's not like this starting rotation as a whole is anything that special, but it's been good enough with a bullpen behind it that has some sick arms. Daniel Palencia, I feel like nobody talks about him. Bro just blowing 100+ mile-an-hour fastballs with a wipeout slider. His ERA is 1.73. Drew Pomeranz somehow, after he was on the Red Sox, when he was so bad in 2018, fun fact, in Game 3 of the World Series that year when the Dodgers walked off in 18 innings, Pomeranz was available in the bullpen for like the entire time. Alex Cora was willing to pitch Nathan Eovaldi until his arm fell off before considering putting Pomeranz in the game. And even at that point, he would have put in a position player to pitch. It was a disaster. But anyway, I forgot that dude existed, and he remains someone that whenever I hear his name, I'm like, oh, he's still a thing. And then I completely forget about him until the next time I hear his name. Well, anyway, that's a long way of me saying he's been good. Caleb Thielbar is another lefty in the pen who's been solid. Brad Keller. Ever since I saw him look at Tim Anderson like he shot his family because he flipped his bat, I was like, this guy sucks. But credit where credit is due. He's having a very solid season out of the bullpen. He hasn't found much success in the big leagues in like 5 years, so shout out Keller for finding his place. Can't say the same for Tim Anderson, so it just is what it is. Now, up until July 20th, the Chicago Cubs hadn't spent a single day out of first place for the entire season. There were a couple days where they were tied, but mainly they were ahead, never trailing by even one game. In the middle of June, they were up in first place by as many as 6.5 games, and it's not that nobody was giving the Milwaukee Brewers any credit for anything, but the Cubs obviously seemed like the best and strongest team in the division. I mean, hell, the Cubs weren't even 6.5 up on the Brewers. The Brewers were in third place at that point. I just went over how good the Cubs are. It's like Sammy Sosa himself gave every hitter what he was using back in his day, and the pitching, very solid. So 1 month ago, if you asked the average baseball fan, not even just Cubs fans, who was winning the NL Central Division this year, I doubt many people were saying the Brewers, who again were not even in second place in the middle of June. The Cubs really just did look more powerful. And hey, can we get an update on that?
Well, well, well. How the turntables
Now, there's a big point in time when this switch happened. To start the season, like I was saying, the Cubs were hot. They had a good April and a great May, while the Brewers also had a solid first month, but then were midder than Zendaya in May. Okay, maybe not that mid, but they weren't anything too special. The Cubs' May was a lot of taking advantage of who they should be beating, which isn't a knock on them. That's what you're supposed to do. After taking 2 of 3 games in Milwaukee to start the month, a couple weeks later, they took 2 of 3 from the Marlins, swept the White Sox, took 2 of 3 from the Marlins again now in Miami, took 2 of 3 from the Reds, and then swept the Rockies. That's a total of 15 games right there against teams the Cubs should be beating, and yeah, they went 12-3 in those games. But then June came around, and nothing's been the same since. Now, it's one of those things where nobody really noticed it until recently, but this extreme Brewers takeover of the NL Central has actually been brewing for a while now. The Cubs caught an unfortunate case of the mid in June. They weren't bad, but they weren't very good. And a decent reason for that maybe because their schedule got a little harder. Now, I'm not one to always look at strength of schedule as an end-all be-all. Like, around this time of year is when many people make a point on what team's strength of schedule looks like compared to the rest of the league. And as important as that is to note, for sure, baseball is still so weird, though. Like, the Angels went 6-0 against the Dodgers this year. It's never that simple. But it still is a factor, and it definitely was for the Cubs in June. After beating up on all those lesser teams in May, they had to play Detroit for 3, where they lost that series, go to Philly, where they dropped another 2 of 3, including a first game where they blew an 11th inning lead. Then they went back home, only for the Mariners to storm into Wrigley and take 2 of 3. The Cubs then split a 4-gamer with the Cardinals in St. Louis before going to Houston and dropping another series. So it's not like they were god-awful. They were winning games against these better teams, they just weren't winning most of them. July was better. The Cubs love playing Cleveland. Whether they're the Indians, the Guardians, change their name back to the freaking Spiders, it doesn't matter. This was true in 2016, and it's the same now. And what's also the same is the way they beat Cleveland. It's never usually by crushing them. It's more so by crushing their hearts, by winning close games that Cleveland had just as strong of a chance to win, but just don't. They started off July by beating Cleveland 5-2, then pulling out a 1-run win in Game 2 just to score one single uno run in Game 3 and still also win that game. The Cubs did the honors of scoring first. In the 10th inning, it took 10 innings for anyone to score. Emmanuel Clase said, hell yeah. Called his buddy back home to throw in some money, came in and called it a night. Cubs sweep the Guardians and ended up going 9-4 through the middle of July, but that's when the fall off started. If you just looked at the month entirely, the Cubs went 14-10, but that doesn't tell the whole story. It leaves out the Cubs falling off to end the month. Instead of going 9-4 again, going 5-6, which isn't even really bad, and neither is starting out August, going 5-7. Yeah, not ideal, but it could be a lot worse. They're still hanging in there, but that's the whole point. The Cubs haven't shot down in the standings because they suck now, because they've had some historical, monumental fall off. No, it's because they've been mostly mid for a while. Meanwhile, over in Milwaukee, I want to put something in perspective. On July 8th, the Detroit Tigers were 15.5 games ahead of the Guardians in the AL Central Division. 15.5, while the Cubs were 2.5 games ahead of the Brewers. I was just thinking how crazy it would have been even a month ago to say the Brewers and Cubs would eventually have a larger gap between each other than the Tigers and Guardians. That would have been ridiculous to say. Well, as of right now, the Tigers are 6.5 games ahead of the Guardians, while the Brewers are 8 games ahead of the Cubs. It's crazy. So what's been going on? Well, the Cubs offense, one that was so great, has really fallen off lately. They're not even the best offense in their own city right now. The White Sox have not only just been better than them offensively over the last month, but it's not even remotely close. And if you individually look at how each month has gone for the Cubs offense, they started out on top of the world, but have steadily gone down as time goes. They were number 1 in OPS in April, number 5 in May, number 9 in June, did go back up to 7 in July, but so far in August, 29. They have the second worst OPS as a team, while the Brewers are, of course, number 1, which should be the main thing to look at here. The Milwaukee Brewers have been unconscious. This generational run they've been on is unbelievable. After having that mid-May I talked about, they went 16-9 in June, then they went 17-7 in July, and so far in August are 12-0. 12-0. And since the calendar struck June, the Brewers are 45-16. Meanwhile, the Cubs are 32-30. Now, just because the Cubs haven't been that bad doesn't mean they have nothing to worry about. They definitely do, but this extreme shift between them and Milwaukee is way more of a Brewers have been awesome thing than a Cubs have fallen off thing. Let me know your thoughts, and thank you for watching. Love you. Bye.